Hello, folks. It's Hack here, and before we start the show proper, just to let you know, even though you see him on screen, Jax is going to be running a little late. No worries. We do have uh, an EFAP planned, but we'll wait till he arrives. So, and actually,
Oh,
oh wait, never mind.
by the way, how does my voice sound? Like, I really don't like using this site just because it doesn't let me do anything with my voice.
You sound nice, coming out loud and clear.
All right.
The heck are you holding your microphone then?
Huh?
So how you holding your microphone then?
It's a headset, remember?
Yeah, I only can think of one way of how you word it. Oh well.
Unless if you want me to put it in my mouth.
No, don't. We don't need that. We don't need that. Let me actually before we properly start, gotta gotta just let people know that we're live. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. And there we go. All right. Now we let our fine fans, our fine people know. So, did you get a crack at the title, Jack?
No, I did not see what happened.
Okay, so I guess so. So 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 playing stuff ahead. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of interesting things happen, but nothing related to art to what we do as a channel, unless you really want to talk about Nick Cannon's very remarkable remarks about the whites.
I see.
But yeah, but like nothing actually like directly related to either our stuff. Yeah, a little bit of mine, but they're too comic booky for even an episode. It's not like something you could give your 2 cents in. But in either case, though, I decided to go with something else. And
Hmm.
so, guess what we're gonna be doing tonight, Jack? We're gonna be EFAPing.
Um. All right. Again, you need to kind of explain
Nope,
this to people.
nope.
All right, so I'm gonna do my version of it.
EFAP or is an acronym which means every
Electronic
frame of
fapping.
pause for every frame of pause. Pretty pretty much for those who don't know what EFAPing is, well, it 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 all started with a Brit and two furries, and they came together to roast a video about someone's really bad opinions on the Star Wars movies. Almost like 95 episodes later, one of the biggest podcasts.
Oh.
I don't know how to describe it. One of the it comes to a very large and dedicated live stream community and channel with tons of guests and lots of tisms that go around. Pretty much, we're watching the video and we're going to see the whole thing through and just give our thoughts about it as the video progresses. And I found something interesting that we can both talk about. And considering that's a 22-minute video, I think I think we can I think we can do it. Be our first time trying to do it proper.
Oh boy.
And I see Gemini. Hello, Gemini. Nick surprised me. Yeah, Gemini. Yep. He's referring to Nick Cannon. Do you know what? Well, actually, do you know who Nick Cannon is, Jack?
No, I don't know anyone from that side.
Okay, it's actually not comics. Actually, Nick Cannon is a he was a popular actor. Then he became a popular host for a variety of TV shows, pretty much a very celebrity personality.
Ah.
And recently, he got fired from his job when he made comments in which implying that whites are a superior race. I mean, sorry, whites are an inferior race to blacks.
Yeah.
Yep, and he didn't say it outright like that, but by using essentially pseudo intellectualism about melanin and pseudo spiritualism, he was arguing that because people with high melanin count are much closer connected to the sun and the soul, they are therefore of higher being than those who have lower melanin count.
Ah, yes, they can hold more chakra.
and pretty much generalizing and calling a bunch of people of European descent a bunch of barbaric savages.
Hmm.
He said nothing about Asians though, which I'm surprised. Funny enough, though, the reason why he got fired, though, the official wording was that because of his not his anti-whiteness, but his anti-Semitism.
Hmm.
So, so even though he's making his whole rant against white people in general, he was fired for decrying the chosen people.
Well, remember, people right now hate white people for no apparent reason.
But what about the chosen people?
Oh, well, apparently that's a bad thing. But you can't. You can hate white people, but you can't hate anything else.
Nope. No, I'm pretty sure we can make. I'm pretty sure I can make a video called "F White People," and guess what? We'll be on YouTube's trending page.
Ha.
But yeah, but that's nothing. You can look it up on your own. But that's not what we watch. That's not what we're going to be going into. Actually, we didn't even do we got to do the proper introductions. I'm I'm of course the always beautiful and Jack Hack.
Yep. And I am Pun Master Hack. Let's just roll with it. Apparently.
Yeah, our names, that's incorrect. You see on screen that is incorrect. I am Jack and he is Hack. That's
Yeah.
the twist all this time.
Yep.
It's our Shyamalan twist. I was Jack all along. In fact, hold on. Let me do something real quick.
He's doing something.
There you
Oh,
go. You'll see it on the screen. And Gemini, I heard the news. I haven't seen what happened yet. I'm still waiting to see receipts. But Exterminator America, it's believable. Actually, Gemini, if you want to see the receipts, because he actually said it in a podcast, I would go check out Memology 101's quick video about it. And he shows exactly what he says. And you can try to make as much context as you want, but it's pretty damning what he said. Pretty damning. Wait, hold on. I need to enter my name proper. If I'm going to be the real Jack.
yeah, totally.
There we go, the real Jack.
Oh fuck.
And are you playing a clicker game back there, or
No,
League?
I'm playing League.
Ah, of course you are. Well,
Well, you caught me on my only 2 days off. Cut me some slack here.
I was kid. I was a kid on you, right? I know you can multitask. Jeez, you cut me some slack.
No, you know I never
Oh,
cut you some slack.
I see
That's
how
part
it
of the
is.
that's part of the bit.
No, it's not. It's no bit. It's never a bit with you. Any case, we can go ahead and start. So I should ask Jack.
Hmm.
The reason why we're doing this is StreamYard so that we can easily see the video together. And instead of the usual way we're doing it. But I want to ask: are you familiar with a YouTube channel called Sugar Punch Design Works?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so these guys I've known about for quite some time, but I'm not subscribed to them. But I've checked a few of their stuff. It's pretty cool. Most of what I know them for is that they have these specific videos in which they go into the designs of either fighting game characters or the or um or animations.
Hmm.
So it's a channel focus on mostly very weebish games, but on for the most part breaking down a character design from their gameplay to their visual appearance. And welcome Ghetto to the stream. Ore Sanju. And he says that sounds like a mid 2000s Japanese pop gan. It does sound like one. And they actually have a good number of 61,000 subscribers. I like because I watch from time to time. Not every single thing is of interest to me, but they're you could check them. You could check them out. And recently, they've made a video called "Why Do Fighting Game Stories Suck?"
I feel like we've been through this before.
Not when it comes to fighting games. No,
I could have sworn we said something about fighting games. We mentioned something about that.
it could have been a short thing we talked about, but we never really went in depth. We talked about the. I know we talked about what matters. What matters most to a game player story. I know we would talk about that, but in this case, I want to take this up because he brings some interesting critiques and solutions on 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 trying to solve the uh, what he sees as one of the flaws of fighting games is just having a generally a bad stories or a bad means to tell a story. So that's what we're looking at for this episode. So let me go ahead and share screen, share audio. There we go, full screen, and luckily the best part, none. I last time I checked, no copyright stuff, so let's worry about anything about that. Hopefully. And actually, let me move this over here. Get into there. And actually, before I continue on, I actually did heard of them not from this video, but a video. I don't know. I think either a year ago. I think we'll say a year ago, in which I think was their biggest ones where they broke down why the animations in Mortal Kombat games just suck,
Hmm.
which is actually a pretty interesting video on itself. And because of that, it opened my eyes to like, wow, NetherRealm can make the most nicest looking fighting game, but apparently they can't make a character throw a real a not a no not a realistic punch, but a convincing punch.
Oh yeah, they're pretty sketchy with their punches.
Yeah, so it was cool to kind of see them break that down. So, in any case, we're gonna go ahead and start with this video right now.
Hmm.
Video games have a unique way of engaging players in their stories. The interactive element of
So first, Jack, can you hear the video?
Yes, I can hear it.
Okay, good.
video games escalates the player from an observer to a participant, inviting players to live in virtual worlds, feel the escalation of tension and drama as they themselves conquer overwhelming odds, and empathize with characters in ways never thought possible. That
So far, yeah, I agree with that. I can agree with that statement. It's really into the game, guys. I'll continue on.
Well,
Sick.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. Messing with you.
I was waiting for you to say something else. I thought you were gonna
No,
give
no,
a giant speech.
no. We'll wait that to like the middle portions. But you go back a little bit. But yeah, I agree with his sentiment in that sorts of video games is they actually, if you think about it, have a leg up through other forms of entertainment in that, like you said, you're active within the game. So you go from observer to participant, and therefore you not in you while not literally, but in a mental sense, you control what happens in the story. And of course, some games do that better than others, but that's the kind of the benefit of stories and games, that you have some level of agency toward what happens, in comparison towards like a novel or a movie or a show.
Mm-hmm.
In ways never thought possible. That said, why are fighting game stories so bad?
So first off, Jack, do you agree with this statement? Are fighting game stories bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Just now, your thoughts on them. Give me your reasons, top of your head. Why is that the case?
To me, there's really no. First of all, there's no sense of urgency. Like, in the sense of, like, okay, so how is this guy a threat? And second of all, if it just seems a little bit ridiculous to me that these maybe potentially world-ending things. Like, I understand Mortal Kombat just to a certain degree because these are all-powerful beings. The thing, something like Street Fighter, it makes no sense to me. Just because the idea that it, for example, M Bison,
Mm-hmm.
he should at least be able to beat many different types of militaristic people, like armies, and somehow in the story he can get beaten by, well, going by just how you play the game, however you feel like it, he can be beaten by Dan Ibiki.
That is true. Actually, and he does go into that, but it does go into that. He does go into that. And he has an actually pretty unique example and what you're exactly talking about. But it's hard to see the threat of a villain if literally every playable character can beat each other up.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
there's already the first problem. If everyone's on an even playing field, then that should be reflected in the story. But most of the time, well, not most of the times, all the times, that's not the case. So let me continue on. Although I will say though, I will give Dragon Ball Fighters some credit and how they were able to, how were they able to explain that with the whole like if you play the story mode in that, the characters have to have the soul within them in order to actually be able to fight while the other characters can't.
Yeah, that was the only one that I was thinking that was actually pretty clever.
Admittedly, I find it funny that without that soul link for a character they use, like they can't even summon up any amount of ki, which I find kind of weird.
Yeah, it's that dampening power, man.
Let's see. Ghetto says they're bad because they have to write around the gameplay, and everyone just drops what they're doing to throw hands. Oh, that's right, that one too. I think Mortal Kombat is more guilty of this than anything in Injustice.
Oh, definitely.
It is no surprise to anyone now or ever that fighting games just do not do stories very good. Which is odd because fighting games also give us some of the most iconic characters in video game history, but we never experience their stories in any satisfying way. And yet, fighting games continue to make efforts to build deep narratives and complex stories for their characters and worlds, no matter how clumsily they do it. To be clear, I want to stress that fighting games are bad at telling stories. The plot or the canon of the story themselves isn't as important, although they also tend to be bad. Nowadays, most fighting games...
He is right on the canon part. Let's use Street Fighter. If you go by canon, you technically you technically Nash has died 3 times from M Bison in 3 games, being Alpha 1, Alpha 2, and Alpha 3. And all it is just Capcom being like, okay, okay, no. We'll reboot. We not reboot. We
We
would
revive him.
no, we will retcon his death, and that no, he didn't die from falling down from a helicopter. No, he fell down a waterfall, or it was actually him Bison who actually like killed him. And he just didn't fall down. Because in all 3 endings, it's just the same, but the circumstances were different.
Yeah.
Although I do like in Alpha 2 that Charlie, like, even though it's like early in Bison, so his psycho power wasn't there yet, Charlie, just using his physical prowess, could actually outmatch Bison so hard that Bison only defeated Charlie by literally having a helicopter attack the bridge he was under and that's how he died. So it wasn't even a fair fight. Bison had to essentially cheat to get rid of Nash.
Yeah. I mean, he is the villain.
And Gus says, out of all the fighting game stories, I think Injustice 2 has the absolute worst story, even without being knowledgeable on DC stuff. I would incline to agree, but Injustice 1 story still irks me, and MK11, I have a lot to say on that. Oh, man.
Games attempt a cinematic style of story mode, popularized by the success of NetherRealm Studios fighting games, which are typically cited as a source of praise and the best story modes in modern fighting games. But in truth, I don't feel like this method is a good way for fighting games to tell their stories. It has many limitations and structural flaws, yes, but the real reason those story modes aren't good is because they're just pretending to be movies. These story modes don't
Yeah, that is actually a good point.
And something that always comes to my mind when all this stuff is that a game is at its best when it's not trying to be a movie. So, and now that being said, you can have fun cutscenes, used to hype up the game. I know the Devil May Cry games are especially great at that. But the very least, after the cutscene's over, guess what? You get to fight the boss that you were styling on, or the enemy that was in that moment. With fighting games, you know what's weird with the whole like cinematic with the cutscenes? It's I think he kind of missed. Either explains it later on, but he kind of missed it of where that really started from. You want to know where that really started from? With having like whole big giant cutscenes with chapters where you play different characters.
Which one?
DC versus Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. I'm so sorry. That's where it all came from. You know, the game in which in which they couldn't even do proper fatalities because Warner Bros. Like, no, you absolutely cannot chop off Batman's head. And of course, and also has the best fatality in which, I kid you not, one of Kano's fatality is that he pushes you to the floor, and then guess what?
What?
He stomps on you.
Where specifically?
The abdomen.
Hey, that's where the heart's at. Oh wait, no. Abdomen.
Where the heck's your heart?
Sorry, I'm an alien. In many ways, more than one.
And there's no head popping, no arm splitting. He doesn't hit you so hard that you explode. No, he just poosh. He gets up and then he poses. I'll have to show it to you later, but my God. But it's just funny though to think that game is what at least led NetherRealm to go down this path of inspiring other fighting games to have those cinematic stories. And out of all the ones I've personally played or seen, what's the only one that I actually enjoyed?
Which one?
The Mortal Kombat reboot. I think that's the only one I actually enjoyed and go back to every time, and just watching the story. Everything else, not really. I have not touched Street Fighter 5. I have not touched Tekken 7. I've tried Mortal vs. Capcom Infinite. Nope. Injustice. Nope. Justice 2. Definitely not. MK11. No. MKX sometimes. But honestly, it was just the Mortal Kombat reboot from 2011. That's the only fighting game story I actually just rewatch. And just for the sake of the story. And that when I really think about it, they put a lot in that story mode despite its flaws and some of its narrative issues. Like that was for a fighting game, that was almost a 9-hour campaign.
Sorry, I had Randy Orton. Someone.
Oh, of course
I
you do.
came slithering my way down the lane, and then watch
So
out,
there
watch out.
is- Watch.
Use
I mean, the way
mechanics of fighting
the
games
way he does it.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
It's just if I could have a button and press it, I would.
in a compelling way. The fights are just filler, and the events of the fight itself doesn't matter because the outcome of the fight is predetermined by the following cutscene.
Yeah.
Yes, and MK11 was especially guilty of this. Because I went ahead and bothered to go back and like, okay, what if I chose Kung Lao instead of Liu Kang? You want to know what's the difference?
What?
Different dialogue, but you get the same result.
Oh, so if one beats the other in the cutscene, that's gonna be permanently there, even though you win.
Yeah,
That's
I think the worst one was with Jax and Jackie later on in the story, where you had to fight, where you with past Jax and Jackie, and you had to fight present Jax, and you could choose either one to. No. I suck. No. Cetrion. So hear this. Remember you were saying how the sense of urgency and power doesn't really matter if all characters can beat each other. So MK11, you got a soldier with Jackie,
mm-hmm.
and watch two soldiers with Jackie and past Jax. Jax just has metal arms, and Jackie she has some cool robotic cybernetic gauntlets, you could say. But other than that, they're normal humans by NK standards. There was a fight in which they had to fight Cetrion, a literal elder god. And for some reason, no matter who you pick, they still won the battle against Cetrion, an elder god. And there's no lore or any point of the story and like, oh no, I can't use all my powers or anything like that. No, you literally fight your two regular people and you find a way to still beat a god. And not just any god like Raiden, an elder god. and I'm like, wait, but Cetrion's like, well, shouldn't she be like up there in the tier in the ranking? Like, shouldn't she like just with a simple snap like get rid of Jackie and Jax like it's nothing? But no, they were able to beat her and finish what they accomplished, if my memory serves correct. Oh yeah.
You might be able to remember the events of the movies that happen in a story mode like this, but I bet you can't think of a memorable fight. And if the fighting is the least memorable part of a fighting game story mode, then I think something must be wrong. And now it's time for some statistics.
Ghetto says Power Rangers Battle for the Grid has a story that's just a super abridged version of the Shattered Grid story from the comic. It looks terrible and just made me wonder why they bother. Oh, that's a shame. Well, might as well just read the comic then. And again, he also has another point.
Mm-hmm.
I can only think of a few memorable fights from story modes that stood out. And you want to know what they all had in common?
What?
There were the final boss fights.
Ha.
If they weren't the final boss fights, they were just I was like, I beat you up. Okay, let's continue the story. And now I think of all of it, I think he also mentions it here but wouldn't it be cool if like they were actually like actual well, I guess gimmicks or weird rules you have to abide by that meets the context of the fight. Like, for example, let's say you're playing Tekken, right? And in Tekken, you control the character by using both the arms and legs. Each button corresponds to the left and right limb. What if, let's say, all of a sudden the character in the story got his left arm injured, and so in the fight you're handicapped and you only have access to 3 attacks?
Yeah,
It's
that would make a lot of sense. That would be pretty cool, though.
it's gimmicky, yeah, but at least it'll make an memorable fight and actually provide a proper challenge,
Better
rather
than having the boss be super unfair.
exactly, which is freaking Shao Kahn and MK, the NK reboot. Good lord.
For Seth. Remember Seth?
As of May 2020,
Don't remind me of Seth. Oh my god. Don't remind me of Seth. I feel like you got trauma from remembering Seth.
The triple Shoryuken.
Don't remind me.
Become a part of me.
And the worst part is with Seth, you can take him down easy first round. Second round, the game's like, all right, let's give you the real challenge. And I'm like,
Yes, let me do some perfect moves on you, some perfect frame attacks.
yes. Oh, and let me also do a Zangief grab frame 1 after you blocked my attack on frame 1.
Imagine my reaction when I was close to beating Seth as Ibuki. All right, I was close to beating him, and I used my ultra to chip damage him because that's all I needed left. That's all I needed left, just to chip damage him. He blocks the first part. I'm like, okay, he blocked it. He's gonna just keep blocking. Nope. You know what happened later?
What?
What he did is that he grabbed me. Zangi grabbed me during my ultra, in the middle of my ultra.
Oh god. How does that have priority over the ultra?
So apparently this happens. There is a frame where Ibuki stops being invincible when her second ultra, how it looks like she kicks you in the air and then throws a bunch of daggers.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
On the kick, if you block the kick, that's the initial invincibility frame. If that part's blocked, you can do whatever you want on that tiny millisecond of time, like that time frame right there, to be able to damage him or damage her. That's how he grabbed me. And with that, I learned how to be cheap as well when someone used Ibuki with the level 2 ultra.
Oh man. Now I remind you of when I played King of Fighters 98 and I made it all the way to, was it God? Yeah, God. Was it God Rugal? Wasn't that one? Or was it those freaking Orochi kids? I think it was the Orochi kids. And so no, that's right. It was the Orochi kids, but then one of the kids, like, they combine with someone else, and you gotta fight the ultimate being or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing with that boss. Not only can he has full screen attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It can teleport,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much has every way to counter you from above, from below, and from above and below. So there's only high and low for King of Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So, in me being like Terry Bogard and King and Kim Kapwan characters, I need to like get in there and rush down. They're the like worst characters to use because he's always keeping me at bay. Get closer, boop! Oh no, he's in the other screen, and so now I gotta just keep spamming power waves. But then his full screen attack doesn't have his animation doesn't take as long to finish as Terry's, so then I can't even spam the power waves because then his fireball comes out much faster and quicker than mine, so I can't even do that. It doesn't even stop it. Oh my god. I still beat him, but man, oh man. So if it was a real arcade machine, I'd sucked in so much quarters. Ghetto says, I honestly take fighting Onslaught and Abyss over fighting bosses like Seth again. Oh my god. Onslaught. Oh yeah. Sheesh. What are you thinking? What are you thinking, Capcom? Alright, let's continue the video.
Mortal Kombat 11 has sold 11.6 million copies across PS4, Xbox One, and Steam, easily making it the best-selling fighting game of 2019. Of the people who purchased Mortal Kombat 11, how many of them actually played through the entirety of Story Mode? By tracking the achievements on each platform, we can see that it's 31% of players on PS4, 31% of players on Xbox, and 46% of players on Steam. If we leverage those percentages against the platform's respective player bases, we come up with these numbers. 2.2 million players on PS4, 1 million players on Xbox, and 460,000 players on Steam. A grand total of 3.8 million players out of 11.6 million players who bought Mortal Kombat 11 and completed Story Mode.
I don't know about you, but based on those numbers, it sounds like Story Mode is such an essential part of a fighting game.
Hey, it sounds. Hey, though, I gotta give it out to the PC players. We actually care about the story.
Yeah, relative. Even though it has the smaller audience, I will give it that. PC players care about the story more than console players. Which
We are sophisticated bunch that
Sure.
none of you console players will ever understand.
Although funny enough, it's when I look at MK though, it's interesting you pick that game because I do know out of all the mainstream fighting games, I would argue that Mortal Kombat has the biggest casual audience. Like it's bigger than Street Fighter, Tekken, or Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Just due to the fact how much the freaking series has had an impact and how much it kept going since first incarnation. And oddly enough, ask any person to name one Mortal Kombat character, I mean, they'll easily name Scorpion and Sub-Zero easily.
Mm-hmm.
Ask someone to name a Street Fighter character,
Ryu and Ken.
they'll say Ryu, or they'll say
yeah.
the Karate Guy, or they'll say, oh, that weird green that green guy. What was his
That
name?
gringo. That gringo.
The Gringo, yeah. Hold on, Jack. Gemini says console master race.
Console master race. It doesn't roll off the tongue as
Well,
PC master race.
Well, because you see, PC has more melanin than console.
No, you see, PC only has it has like shorter syllables. They're still 2 syllables, but it's shorter. So it's just the letters.
And of course, we all know that PCs have a closer connection to the sun, so therefore they're the superior race.
No, it's better. This is the better way to say it.
All right.
We have the closer connection to the internet.
And because of that connection, you're not savages compared to the console peasants.
Yeah, we don't have to go.
Oh man! And also, for the record, yes, I am also part of that 3.8 million that finished that finished the story mode on MK11. I was at 31% on PS4. I was there. I'm that statistic.
That's only 32%. How does one of the world's best fighting games, with the highest AAA budget and a marketing campaign that heavily features its critically acclaimed story mode, only get 1/3 of its players to actually beat the story? Maybe it's because of a new tradition where early adopters just deadass upload the entire story mode onto YouTube, but think about that.
What do you say with that in that regard? Do you think people uploading the story mode early, like very early, like day 1 or even like day 0, has an impact of people actually playing the story mode in the game?
What do you mean? Well,
Like due to the fact that you can watch the whole story mode on YouTube like a movie, do you think that's at least a one of the reasons why the player base would not be a player base a significant portion of the player base would not play the story mode, in this case MK11?
Yeah, I could say. Yeah, I could agree with that.
And and Gemini, he also brings something up, and thing he says, "I'm surprised so many people finish the story mode. I don't even finish most games I play." That is true. If there, I forget what statistic it was, but there is evidence that of all the games that gamers buy, they don't fit. For most games people buy, they don't finish them.
Yeah.
So it could. So I think not not really because all the stuff is essentially put on YouTube. I just think it's just gamers have unfortunately just stopped. We have so many games and so little time that we don't bother trying to play as much as we can, even if it's just a story mode that doesn't that you can finish MK11 story mode in a day. I kid you not.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, statistically, I guess you could say gamers are lazy. Uh, Ghetto says no. If that were the case, barely would anyone would barely play since every game's cousin get put on YouTube immediately. That's what. Oh, that's right. That's why Smash never something like so. I'm still mad about that. I'm still mad. And I'm surprised though, Jack, because I've seen this video before. This guy doesn't mention the Subspace Emissary from Smash Brothers Brawl, and I thought that was freaking awesome. I still remember the hype I saw when freaking Meta Knight and Marth are like dueling each other in this anime sword fight, and then by the end they then have to work together to fight the enemies. So they go from dueling to then backing each other up. I was, oh my god, that hyped me up so much.
Fights in a story mode like Mortal Kombat 11 are so unimportant that you can just remove them and watch the whole thing on YouTube, which is probably what those other 68% of players did. And if that's really the case, then I don't think this method of story mode is working.
Okay, so with that in mind, he's going by the notion that because you can see the story mode via the internet, that's why most players don't bother either starting or finishing the story. I'm inclined to disagree due to the fact that just most gamers in general, unless it's a personal favorite game of them or if they have the time, they just simply don't finish games that they play. And if it's a fighting game, I can guarantee you that the first thing the player is going to do is not go to that story mode, but they're going to at the very least go to versus mode or arcade mode.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's anecdotal, but I can vouch for that. When I got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, guess what's the first thing I did? I went to arcade mode. I didn't even bother with the story until out of curiosity, like a week or two later, after I was getting used to the fighting mechanics.
Hmm.
So I'll disagree on this. So I'll disagree with this guy on that. I think he might be putting more. I think he might be putting too much emphasis on the fact that you can watch the spoilers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ghetto says, I remember Sega Atlas tried their damnedest to quit people from doing that. Well, oh, that's right. I forgot. There was what Ghetto's referring to is that when Persona 5 released, and I think maybe even like the Persona 4 Gold, Sega Atlas, they did their hardest to prevent spoilers from appearing on the internet, to the point that if you posted like any type of story onto YouTube, during the release time, they would take that video down. Like
Oh
they were
wow.
very strict that do not post any spoilers on the internet, to the point that to the point that uh yeah, that they would like take videos down, and you can only do it after a certain date. Then it's okay. But they're very adamant that, especially for their Persona games, don't spoil anything until after a certain date, which is usually like 2 or 3 weeks after release. I like in which I don't which I vehemently disagree with, but I get the sentiment
Mm-hmm.
because obviously you have this big RPG game going, and you don't want people getting spoiled by, oh, I'm gonna look at Persona 5 stuff. Oh, look, there's found a boss. Well, guess I don't have no reason to play now. I will say though, in regards to that, I think just a tangent here. I think people get too caught up on spoilers. If I'm going to be honest,
Yeah, I'm
'Cause-
really someone that's not into spoilers unless if it's something I'm really interested in.
yeah, and for the most part, I'm on the firm belief that, especially because I know a lot of games, they want to build up like twists or a mystery and all that. I'm on the belief that if your story just revolves around this twist and a mystery and nothing else, and it hinges on people be unaware of that till the very end of the story, will the story hold up knowing the mystery and knowing the twist? If it doesn't, then that story is literally only good for one view or for one playthrough. Because once you know everything, well, is there any other stuff to do? If it's not, then it's not kind of worth it then. And that's not to say though. That's like to what Jack was saying. That if it's some things that that you have personal investment in, then yeah, you don't want to be spoiled because that could genuinely ruin your enjoyment of it. But for the most part, you can't be into everything, and so I think people should just kind of relax a bit in regards to, hey, if you see like a thumbnail image of the final boss of a game that you're thinking of playing,
Mm-hmm.
just be like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like. You still don't know the context about it or what the heck is, but just like, oh, okay. Just don't watch the videos. All right. Maybe even go to YouTube and be like, don't recommend it to me. It's like, it's fine. It's fine. Instead of being like going to the video and then being like, how dare you spoil me on this? You're the worst. You're the scum. You're scum for spoiling me this video that I click by choice. I hope you rot in hell. There's a special hell for spoilers. That's the secret. That's the 10th gate. That's the one they don't talk about. There's betrayers at the very bottom, and then below that, there's people who spoil stuff. Like all those people that were spoiling the ending of the Deathly Hollows when that book came out. Oh man, that must have been very mad. That must have been very sad for all those Harry Potter fans. They're in line to read the book, and then all of a sudden, some trolls come in the car. Dumbledore dies. No, I'm sorry. Snape dies.
Yay!
Did Dumbledore die in Deathly Hollows, or was that Half Blood
I,
Prince?
I don't know. I stopped watching it after the first movie.
I still watch out the second movie. But in any case, continue on.
So how do we get people to play story mode? Other than holding characters hostage behind a story mode clear. Does the writing need to get better? Well, yes, but perhaps story mode itself is the problem.
Oh.
For a genre that keeps insisting on wanting a story, fighting games face a lot of unique challenges. For one, fighting games have a lot of characters, and it can be difficult to give every single one a spot in the story.
Oh, okay. It was Snape kills Dumbledore. Oh, that's what I figured that was the case. I forgot that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Story. This is why most fighting games are about tournaments. It's the easiest framing device for getting a bunch of weirdos from around the world to fight each other. But if every character is equally important and capable of becoming the protagonist, then it can be difficult to centralize the plot and put together a cohesive storyline.
Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, I kind of agree.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to use Street Fighter, I mean, be honest. Is Ibuki that important of a character?
Not, no, like no.
And you're gonna and it hurts me to say this, but is Elena even that important of a character?
Hey, she became friends with Akuma.
Hmm. I'm sure there's a dojin out there somewhere about
Oh
that.
no.
Not that type of dojin.
Oh.
Like the actual like, hey, I'm in a little fan fiction. Gosh,
Oh my.
you're filthy.
That's even worse. A fan
Well,
fiction.
I don't know. I read some Street Fighter fan fiction. Let's just say they really, really want Ryu and Chun Li to be an item, and I just and to me, Ryu is like I don't think he even knows the concept of sexuality. I think all he knows just knows how to fight. I think that's
Could have
it.
sworn there was like a scene like that before.
Like Chun Li really have nothing. Not even the comics. There's like no connection there. Oh, Ghetto says yes, yes, a million times yes. Elena is the most important. I mean, is she really? Is she? In that case, if she's important, then Dan is important. Not for story reasons, but
Comedic reasons.
for yeah. See, he plays an important role. He's comedic. What role does Elena play? She's a cute teenager. Well, guess who else plays that role? Sakura, Ibuki, Makoto,
No.
Karen. Am I missing anyone else? I think that's it as far as like, they have like five. Sure, has like five oh my god, they have five girl teenage characters. But is Jun and Jin? What's that? Is that Jun and Jin? Jun and the twins. Are they like the only teenage boy characters Street Fighter has in their roster? Oh wait, no, Sean. They have Sean. Wait, then that's just three. Then that's just three like adolescent males in the roster. Huh? Never
Yep.
noticed. Interesting. All right. Lena is important being the best girl. I mean, yeah, but that's not story. At that point, they should really just bring back rival schools. I always I always forget about rival schools. I always
What?
forget about them.
What was that?
Rival schools.
I don't know what that is.
It's another fighting game series from Capcom. Got like two games. They they actually were like pretty early 3D 2D fighting games, and they're actually within the Street Fighter world. It's literally about two rival schools fighting head to head with each other. And Sakura, she makes a cameo appearance in I believe the second game or the first game, one of those two. So because Sakura's in them, technically the world of rival schools is also within the world of Street Fighter. So you have a bunch of adolescent teens who can essentially possibly go toe to toe with Street Fighter characters.
Huh. Interesting.
And so does Ghetto says so does Capcom. Even Capcom forget about rival schools. In fact, they've forgotten so much. I could tell you this for a fact, Jack. One of the main, essentially like the main protagonist of rival schools, Batsu. His last appearance was in the crossover game Tatsunoko versus Capcom all the way back in 2010 or 2011. That was his last official appearance in a Capcom game of any rival school character. And most that Capcom does is, look at this special costume. That remember rival schools? Yeah.
Totally.
Blue says, what even are hands? I'm assuming that's what you're drawing.
Oh yeah. Hands are always the most notorious thing to draw.
Don't worry. Just you'll get better. Just for an entire month, just draw nothing but hands. Do the Todd McFarlane way.
Then after that, she forgets how to draw eyes.
Ghetto says no. You should have. I forgot about the Project Cross Zone games. They had so much potential, but oh man, they're their fighting system made those matches so long. In any case, let's continue on.
It used to be that you had to wait until the next installment of a fighting game just to figure out how the previous one ended, and that's just not good design. The NetherRealm cinematics.
Case in point, Street Fighter. Original Street Fighter 2 came out in 1991. Jack, guess when the first version of Street Fighter 3 came in?
When?
Street Fighter 3, the first version of it, new generation, came out 1997. So let's say you were invested in the story of Ryu and you wanted to see what happened past 2.
Mm-hmm.
First game came out in 1991. You literally had to wait 6 years to actually see any type of progression, because in between that time, you just have re-releases of 2 and the alpha games, which are prequels. And then 97, so this is what Ryu's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So he does have a point on that.
Style tries to fix this by spotlighting characters per chapter, but this isn't a sure-all fix. This ends up creating stables where you have designated heroes, designated villains, and whoever doesn't fall into either camp is either a jobber or is just absent. If you were looking forward to playing as Aaron Black, Scarlet, Captain Cold, or Atrocitus, well, get fucked. Tekken 7 has it far worse, as its story mode cuts out like 70% of the game's cast.
Which, I will give them this, regarding Tekken 7. Even though they did that, and freaking, like, you can see how much characters are not in the story mode, at the very least, Tekken 7 kept things focused on the characters who matter, for the most part. I kid you not, Jack. Claudio Serafino, like, brand new character for 7, he has 1-2 scenes of the story mode, then he's gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even that major. He's literally all there. He's literally there. His whole reason for his character is to get Jin into the main plot.
Huh.
And that's it. Same thing with Lee. Lars and Akuma, for being a special guest character, he really didn't do much in the story, surprisingly. But everyone else gets like freaking gets freaking highlights. Even the freaking Elisa, the freaking robot, the frilly robot girl,
Mm-hmm.
who has literally, I kid you not, to any characters on this, she has no personal relationship towards, no friendship, nor nothing like that, except maybe Lee, maybe. But everyone else in the cast of the story, she literally has nothing to do with them. Her only real relationship is that she's best friends with where the heck is she? With Xiaoyu. She's best friend with Xiaoyu, and Xiaoyu is not even in the story. So she's just there because she's a big fan favorite character. But she doesn't really contribute anything significant to the story. So even the characters they did pick to put in, a few of them were entirely worthless, or they could have used someone else, or just a no-name character.
Yeah.
Does it create a more focused story? Technically, yes, but you can't just pretend that these characters don't exist. The worst of these is actually Guilty Gear Xrd, because they don't even try to blend fighting gameplay and storytelling, they just remove the fights altogether. There's only so far you can go when you just pretend to be a movie. There's another problem that fighting games face, and that's because modern fighting games are competitive games first, long before they are narrative games. Things that happen in-game can't have any lasting impact on the roster, which is why it never feels like fighting game stories ever stick. There's no sense of permanence or dramatic change because the standard mode of play, versus mode, needs to maintain a status quo. If a character...
He is right, although I can think of one series that at least sticks to this a little bit. And that will be King of Fighters. King of Fighters, ever since the very first one in 94, they have made it consistent of who returns into the next iteration, and and even at certain points have made it clear that certain like years or certain years of King of Fighters is literally just uh, a dream match where it is not involved any story. It's just there so that everyone can have their favorite characters. But King of Fighters, at the very least, is consistent with having characters either not come back or they progress in some manner. Like for example, um, one of the early bosses, the King of Fighters, Rugal. Well, guess what? Rugal was defeated like 97 or 98, I think 97, and he has not returned back since, except maybe in a uh, King of Fighters game where everyone's in it. Let's see. Same. What else? As well, with characters progressing, Tizok, who while he didn't appear at like any of the early King of Fighter games, he was still an SNK character within the world of King of Fighters. He was in Gorilla Mark of the Wolves, and then he comes back in King of Fighters 14 as King of the Dinosaurs. So he has a progression in that he's got a new gimmick, but he's got a new gimmick and a new type of fighting style. But it's still technically Tizok. He just has new moves now. So I'll give King of Fighters that credit. And Ghetto says, well, that's one thing fighting games to superhero comics have in common. Oh yeah, there's nothing's ever permanent. Which, by the way, I give it 3 more months till they bring back Alfred from the dead. Like 3 more months. $5 says they use the Lazarus Pit. In fact, I bet the big story coming up, Joker War, I bet by the end Alfred's gonna come back. If not, then he actually might be dead dead for the meantime.
Plot twist.
Dies in story mode, you never really feel that sense of loss that you feel.
Also, I had to rant a bit. This scene here, MK11, was BS. Okay, this was BS.
I have no emotions one way or the other.
Oh well, here, let me explain it to you. So, we got Scorpion, right? We got present Scorpion who looks human, and I'm sorry, yeah, and past Scorpion who's still the Hellspawn, right?
Yes.
In this scene, both of them, both Scorpions are still top tier fighters. You know, they were chosen to be in the Mortal Kombat to participate in the MK tournament for a reason. But this Scorpion here, present Scorpion, was killed by literally by a literal what's the minion, freaking Devora, the bug lady. She killed him in a cutscene, even though technically he should outmatch her in all ways. But they use a freaking minion character to be like, oh, we kill this Scorpion so that we can have dramatic tension. And even though we're still going to use Scorpion, we'll just use the past version instead of the present version because plot.
I'm just confused that if the past Scorpion saw all of it, wouldn't the future or the present Scorpion then again, like with time, it makes no sense because if the past saw how he died, then his present would work a way to not die.
See what I mean? See what I mean? How MK11's story doesn't make any sense. I mean, to go even further back from the thing, the whole point of MK11's story is that the main villain is colliding time periods together, right? She's bringing back all the villains from the older MK timeline. Here's the problem, though. For some reason, she brings back all the heroes. So the villain literally put herself in a predicament that she has a chance to lose, even though she literally can't control space and time.
Yep.
Fighting games, everyone. Ghetto says, I really do not like the classic costume redesign. Freaking every MK game, they redesign these costumes, and I'm like, just stop it. Stop it. It's not enough. They have to freaking change the inputs of every character's signature moves. They got to redesign costumes. They retroactively make it. Oh no, they always had those designs. Oh god. And Gale says, Jack, you're putting more thought into it than the people who wrote it.
Oh, it's simple.
Yeah, but apparently you don't belong in a big multi-million studio now, do you? You
Oh,
could have just been the guy that said, "Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Rewrite it."
yeah.
Just get like a little red pen, just like, no, no, no,
No,
stupid.
with all this, I
Maybe.
might as well get just a a giant vat of black ink and just kind of dip the paper in there.
It just, and be like, do it again. Not my tempo.
Not my tempo. Do it again. 1, 2, 3. No.
You end up throwing a freaking like sharp fountain pen at them.
No, I'm just gonna throw a console at them.
Just you throw the entire PS4 and be like, again, do it right.
Be like, do you know why I threw that PS4 at you? Because not at your tempo. You are not my tempo.
These people don't even remember what Sindel was actually like. That is the truth.
Character dies in story mode, you never really feel that sense of loss that you feel if a character dies in any other genre, because you know that character has to be selectable for versus mode. For example, in BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, New dies at the end of the story. She is effectively gone from the game.
By the way, he says Newell, but how would you read that name as?
Noel.
Just want to point that out.
Kind of like just the name itself. The name of the game itself. It just there's no E. So English wise, there would not be a way for it to say Blaze.
Should be BlazBlue. But yeah, sure, we'll go with Newell. That's her name, Newell. Sure.
This would be bad for new players if she weren't in the next game, because she's dead. So in the sequel Continuum Shift, they introduced Lambda 11, who is literally a palette swap of New with her exact same moveset, so new players don't have to drop their main and the status quo stays intact. And yes, it is as cheap as it sounds. So because nothing in the story has permanence, the story becomes a separate entity from the rest of the game, and we just end up in the trap of just watching story modes on YouTube instead of experiencing them for ourselves because they don't offer anything unique to the player. Now, I say that this is specific to modern fighting games because the opposite used to happen in older fighting games, and I don't think it worked out either. In Killer Instinct 1, there are specific character matches that happen in the story, and in those matches, the losers canonically die. So if you played Cinder in KI1 and were looking forward to Cinder in KI2, get fucked. There is absolutely nothing more disappointing.
By the way, if you were to make a fighting game, would you make a decision like that, in which like, you know what? Nah, they're not in the next game. We'll make a story reason, but nah, they won't be in the next game.
No, never. Just because people will have questions, it's just gonna be annoying to ignore all that.
Yeah,
And it's equally frustrating for the player to just be like, okay, what happened?
yeah, it'll be like Street Fighter 3 all over again, where they didn't put Ryu and Ken in the like first version of the game.
Yeah.
I think, or no, I think they might be New Generation. No. They were in New Generations, but they were the only two returning characters. Everyone else was new, and because of that, because of that, with Second Impact and Third Strike, they had to add in Chun-Li and Akuma. Gemini 7 me, yes, definitely. I don't know what Tob means. Tob?
Toblerone.
I haven't eaten a Toblerone in years. The last time I ate one was very good.
Actually, I'm in the mood for something sweet. I'll be back. I'm gonna get a gansito.
Alright, he'll be back, folks, and we'll keep it paused here for the moment. Ghetto says it'd make more sense to kill them off in the story, but just keep in the games. You don't have to explain anything. No, that's true. That's true. But then you get those people like, well, why aren't they gay? They're not in the story. You know, those people who put too much emphasis on everything having to make sense and be not even logical, just have it their way, and that all the characters in the game have to be in the story. Gemini, to begin with, it's more interesting to add new characters, and you have to get rid of old ones. Generally, that is true, but with fighting games, the hardest part is of adding new characters is obviously, if you're going to add in new characters on top of the already established roster, that's a lot more work, and you still have to put new twists on the established characters so they still remain fresh and they're not just a carbon copy of their previous iteration. And if you, like I was saying with Street Fighter 3, if you go so far as to even remove like 90% of the original Street Fighter 2 cast, then you end up in a situation where fans didn't like it, and then you end up in a situation where fans didn't like it, and you have to put in at least a few of the classic characters in just to appease them. Which is a shame, too, that they did that, because the Street Fighter 3 characters, aside from maybe one or two that I personally don't care for, all of them were gold, as far as I'm concerned, and has a little bit of showcasing new type of fighters or had elements of old fighters that brought them in new styles.
Nice. I got my gancito.
Good.
I'm ready.
All right.
Came it from the fridge.
Then the feeling of seeing the next installment of your favorite fighting game come out, and your favorite character didn't make the roster. And no amount of story will ever excuse that. Remember when Jin Kazama completely changes fighting styles between Tekken 3 and 4? The story reason is that he basically unlearned the Mishima style to pursue his own style of karate in order to defy his heritage.
How do you unlearn something? You're not a Pokemon where you just go like, poof, I forgot.
Nah, man, he just took off that TP. You know what I mean?
How do you unlearn? How do you unlearn? I mean, it would make sense if he like at least say he had amnesia.
I think what it's implying that he just simply didn't use the style anymore. But yeah, he can't just unlearn. He can't unlearn. You know what it is? I think it's just the person in the video. I think what he meant to say was he chose not to use the style and use a new fighting style instead of unlearn. Or unless, hold on, or maybe it was actually unlearned. Give me a second here. Tekken 4 Jin. Okay, hold on. Maybe it was unlearned. I gotta see. Yeah. Okay, Jin. Let's see. Jin, who vanquished Ogre in the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, was shot and mortally wounded by Heihachi. As light slipped away, Jin transformed into the devil. Upon transformation, he struck down Jin. Heihachi surged Jin to no avail. Yeah. G Corporation, yeah. Tekken Force, yeah. We know that. God damn it, where is that with the? No, I don't want to talk about. I don't want Kazuya. Where is it? Okay, hold on. I gotta find a different thing right here. Here we go. Okay, this might be better. Biography. Okay. Okay, in short, detective for could I go to? Okay, I can't find anything at least in the wiki that shows that he was unlearning the Heihachi Mishima style. Although I think that was actually the case, I think it makes more sense that he just simply stopped using it, which is funny enough because eventually, when Tekken Tag Tournament came, or maybe Tekken 5, they added a Devil Jin, and Devil Jin had the old moveset while current Jin had the new moveset. So in order to help to please the fans that wanted the old Jin, they simply just made another Jin and just said, hey, you want the old fight style? Well, you get to have it, but in devil form.
Oh.
Ghetto says you're running. He says you'll run into the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite problem where mainstay characters are gone, and people who put time into the games and main these characters are out of main. And you can. Gemini says and you can keep old characters in multiplayer they aren't in the story. With Ghetto then saying then you'll get the functions problem. Oh, that's right. Are you aware of about the functions comment for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Jack?
No.
So in an interview, I forget with who, but there was in promoting the game, people were asking, where's all the X-Men characters? Because the X-Men characters were big staples in the past Marvel vs. Capcom games. And in response, I don't know if there was a big guy in FGC or an actual developer of Marvel, I forget. He comments that, oh, well, you see, it's not that people want the characters, they just want the functions of those characters. So, yeah, so you can still have your Magneto, it's just, it won't be Magneto. You can still have your Wolverine, it just won't be Wolverine.
Huh.
He had in mind that people just wanted the way the characters play instead of the actual characters. And because of those comments, that really pissed a lot of people off. Let's put this in a different term. Like in any MOBA or shooter, if there was a specific character that you like, would you still be happy if they got rid of him? If they give him all that character's tool sets to a different character and say, "Hey, it's the same character." Technically, yes, but not visually.
They technically did that. They technically did that to someone in League of Legends. No one cared. So I guess it was a bad example, but still, yeah, I get what you mean, though.
Yeah, maybe an example, but and also, and Marvel's Capcom has been around for a much longer period of time, and the X-Men characters were staples of the roster.
Well, here's the thing: you're comparing a fighting game, people that actually love the characters, to a MOBA where people call every character they go against cancer. And if they are losing to that said character, they're cancer. But if they're winning with that character, it's not cancer.
So what you're saying is no one likes characters in MOBAs.
What I'm saying is, yes. I literally have this same discussion with a friend, where every single time when he lanes, I always hear him yelling, "Oh my god, this character needs to be gutted. It's so broken." And 2 games later, he's playing the same character, and he's dying by someone else, and he says the same thing. "Oh my god, this character needs to be gutted. It's broken." So, and I literally go at him. I'm like, yes, anyone that I'm not playing needs to have a specific debuff on them. They can't do any damage to me. Every time when they do damage to me, it heals me. Like that's what I keep telling him. Like, yeah, this is totally how it's supposed to be, because every other character needs to be gutted when I'm not playing him.
And Ghetto also says, think Tribor and Shanks and MK11 prove that argument right. Actually, yeah. If you don't know Triborg, he was the replacement for the cyborgs at MK. So instead of having Cyrax, Sector, and Smoke as their own characters, they literally just combined them into one character called Triborg, in which the different variations is just the different cyborgs.
I was hoping for something like Borg, Diborg, Triborg, Petraborg.
Secborg.
No, it's Petaborg, and then Hexaborg.
Then Septaborg.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a Septaborg in some MK fan game. And with Shang Tsung, he got a completely different fight style. So he had his own moveset, and he had a gimmick of like he would literally transform into the other character, right? It was a copy character. But in 11, they changed it to where he could summon. He just transforms to different copies of the ninjas, and that's it. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't actually has a copy ability anymore. He's just his different special move is that he'll transform into a Pacific Ninja. He'll do a move that's Scorpion, or do a move that's Sub-Zero, or do a move that's Ermac. That's it.
That reminds me of this one. It was this one Soul Calibur character you could play as. I forgot what it was called, but literally, it was just like It was just pretty much a second random button. That's all it was. A second random button. You click on the character. When you select on them inside the game, you're like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm playing as this clone. You don't remember that one? It was like a ball of speed, like a ball of energy or something like that.
Oh, charade.
Yeah, it was. I was like saying, "Hey, let's play." I remember one time I'd be like, "Hey, let's play randoms." So my friend would click on the random button, and then I click on charade. He's like, "You can't do that." Like it's. I mean, it's pretty much. It's technically random. I have no clue who I'm going to be playing as. Like, oh, okay. I guess I have Nightmare's moveset.
And also for me, I never understood why I never had Link till years later.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Giano mentioned something. He says Jack's favorite Marvel character is By Beast, and that's who. That's right. That's him right there, By Beast.
No, I need Tri Beast. It has to be Tri Beast.
Try. You know what? Jack just confirmed to Ghetto. He will make a comeback in the current Immortal Hulk series.
No,
By Beast will come back. He'll be Tri Beast.
no, better yet, he's gonna come back as Pan Beast.
Now that might be something different entirely. Like,
what does Pan Beast do? Oh, now instead of being bi, he's now pansexual.
which I still don't know what it means. I still don't know.
You love everything, I guess.
Isn't that omnisexual though?
I don't know. I don't make the rules here. If a pansexual wants to do what they want, go ahead, I guess.
Gemini says, I personally like the idea of a character story endings and they never come back makes the game more compelling to the. I personally like the idea of a character story's ending and they never come back makes the game more compelling, even if my favorite character dies. I actually did. I think he does. He will mention like that someone's in the video, but I actually do like that with Soul Calibur 5 and in early arcade endings, in that characters will have their own specific ending to their story, and sometimes they just have no relation to the main plot. I mean, yeah, it's kind of bizarre to see El Fuerte beat Seth, and his ending is he meets E Honda and he discovers a new way to cook food, a new recipe actually. But hey, who we all want that Mexican Japanese restaurant, which by the way, that might actually make gangbusters. Mexo Nippon fusion.
I don't know.
I
don't want to see a quesadilla sushi wrap.
Well, no. It's quesadilla, but the meat is Kobe beef.
That's mean. You shouldn't be talking about him like that.
No, not that Kobe. Gemini says Pan Beast does whatever he wants. That's what it is.
Pan Beast does whatever he wants.
Cool, but it sucks for anyone who liked Jin's old moveset. So you can see that some older fighting games did try to make dramatic changes between installments.
Wait, hold on. Ghetto says, fund it. That's it, guys. We're going to be entrepreneurs. We're going to make a Mexico Nippon fusion restaurant in Texas. We'll be the first in the world.
I guess I got to start dating a Japanese girl. Just that way we can have the backstory of it's a family-owned restaurant where the dad's a Mexican and the mom's a Japanese woman. Hey, ladies, I'm taking applications now. If not, I could give you my boyfriend application.
or Jack, he goes on a journey to Japan to redefine his cooking, and then there he meets a chef with unbelievable talents and stunning beauty. Let's see the story. There's a story there.
Here's my skill sets. I play video games. Yeah, you might not think that sounds like it's something interesting, but wait until you see me do this with a thumbstick. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, I could hear that. or, or,
I
or,
just don't
or
want to break my thumbstick right now.
not yet. Not until the honeymoon.
Not until the honeymoon.
Oh man.
installments, but it doesn't always work out for the long-term competitive aspect.
How do fighting games work? I mean, tell story.
So the problem with story modes is that by pretending to be a movie, the gameplay becomes inconsequential. The story is hard to focus on an ensemble of characters, and the story can't make any dramatic changes to the game in order to maintain a competitive status quo. Does this mean it's impossible to tell stories within a fighting game? Not at all. In fact, fighting games are excellent at telling stories and have been for a long time. It's just that no one noticed it because it doesn't happen in a mode called story mode. It happens right in versus mode. You might be confused because versus mode matches are typically non-canon, but a match doesn't have to be canon for it to have a story. Each match in VS mode has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and within that span of time, a story is being told. This is what I like to call self-contained narrative. Stories in which the canon is dictated solely by what happens in the game. The strength of fighting games is its memorable characters, and the best part of fighting games is seeing these characters interact, which happens in small self-contained encounters every time you play versus mode.
Okay, he's gonna get more into
Oh,
it,
no.
but first, Ghetto says, my new favorite light novel. I am a Hispanic gamer traveling to Japan to find love and refine my cooking.
Damn.
I
I would read that. I would read that.
and then it gets an anime adaptation, and guess what? It's like it becomes like one of the big hits of the season. It's right up there with Your Name and all that. And guess what? It's gonna be so big. It's gonna have its own Reddit. Oh man. So, as it was, so this is where the view gets interesting for me. The idea that every fight is his own story, canonic, regardless of canon or otherwise. So, first off, what are your thoughts on that, Jack? On that idea?
Every fight is its own story. I don't like that idea, to be honest. It makes things a little bit too confusing where everything depending how many characters you have, it's just gonna complicate everything. There's gonna be double fights eventually somewhere in there where this character fights this character. In a in a tournament setting, it makes no sense.
That is true. Although he did say that it did not have to be canonical. It's essentially its own self-contained story, regardless of what happens outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he does go into details of further explanations, but just want to introduce the idea first.
If Ryu and Akuma face off in a stormy field, that's a story. But so is Guile and Zangief bumping into each other on the streets of Brazil and just duking it out. No matter what the matchup is, it's the events of the fight that create the narrative. Like any good fight scene, you watch as two fighters fight to get the upper hand on the other, capitalizing on mistakes and reacting to one another. Think about your favorite fight in an anime and see how it could easily be reimagined as a fighting game. There are
Ghetto says, especially I don't like Injustice 2's narrative. I do like the pre-match dialogues that would like Jay Garrick talking Barry out traveling back in time to stop injustice from happening, and Batman training the TMNT. That is pretty cool. When you go
I forgot the TMT was there.
And Starfire trying to find new people to hang out with after the Titans died / went missing. I will admit that's actually I do like those. I do give that to the NetherRealm games, in that I do like those pre-match dialogues, and that you have like a little interaction and even sometimes like context for why they're fighting. It's just a shame that it's not all the times always engaging, or it doesn't make sense sometimes, but it's there, and And just like with Gale's pointed out with his examples, is sometimes can be pretty cool. Although with Batman, Batman's training everyone in the freaking Injustice roster. Like he trains Harley Quinn, he trains Blue Beetle, he trains Supergirl, he trains Firestar. He's training everyone.
Firestar.
Uh, uh, yeah, Firestar. You know the guy who with a two, he's like two people inside him with a lava head.
Oh, that guy. Forgot about him.
Yeah, yeah, he's cool, but C tier comic character. But he has his own fans. So I do like where this guy is go. I do like where the video is going with in regards to that. So let's keep listening, watching more.
Fights that come down to the wire, or fights where one player makes an amazing comeback against all odds. And if a fight is a total curb stomp, then that's also a story. The mechanics of a fighting game also help push the narrative as well. Life bars show you what's at stake for each fighter as each blow brings them closer and closer to losing the battle. Like a fight where one fighter starts getting bloodied and you can sense that they're on their last legs.
Oh, correction, sorry. It's Firestorm, not Firestar. I was thinking of the Marvel character. Sorry, that's why I confused you.
Think about the drama that's implied by a super meter. It's a visual and mechanical sign that one fighter is about to attempt a big play to turn the fight in their favor. The super meter is a narrative tool that creates tension, and exciting things happen during the fight when it gets spent, whether or not the super actually hits. Now hold on, you may think. What about the canon established by characters' lore? You can't just say that...
Before we go into that one, the idea that every fight is his own self-contained story. He does have a right in that when you look at a fight within a narrative lens, it does have its 3-arc structure. You have the beginning of the fight, the middle of the we have before the match begins, the actual match, and the conclusion to the match. So I do give him credit for that. And I've been thinking about this, and just to play devil's advocate, because he has a lot of good ideas here, but just to play devil's advocate, what I could see is just weird is that if they go with that, then it could end up like, well, would you really? Well, I'll ask this: would you really have a story at all if every character's matches has their own little story that may or may not pertain to even a bigger narrative? Or is it much more better to have a bunch of personal narratives as combined to a much bigger one that comes together?
I mean, I don't really care for an individual sense of, like, I don't really care for an individual story for every single character, especially if it's going to be like a long roster. If it's going to be a story, I might as well make it try to be somewhat linear. Plus, I just don't want, I can't see a universe where every perfected martial arts in Street Fighter is beaten by Danny Beaky.
Sure, man. You sure you don't want to live in that world?
Akuma, overtaken by the Satsui no Hado. Beaten by Danny Beaky.
I mean, Dan can technically use the Satsui no Hado, kind of.
A man that can do pretty much kill. He could pretty much Super Saiyan speed, like DBZ speed, punch someone into oblivion. Beaten by a man that can't even produce a proper Hadouken.
And has not bothered to change his gi that he accidentally made pink because he watched the colors with the whites.
Exactly.
I will say though, the video there actually is a point in regards to that, so we'll get to there. But I just want to see just the concept itself. Now, I think the real problem with is that, especially because since most games you want to have a large cast, you run a problem with that sometimes some characters they're just there because they look cool, not necessarily because they have the most compelling story.
Mm.
I mean, I'll give you an example here. Um, Nina Williams from Tekken. She's literally assassin woman. I like her design, and she has a nice rivalry with her sister. But outside of that, and there's really nothing to her. There's really nothing to her in terms of a story. You have and the only thing that makes it interesting is stuff she has with other characters, whether it be her sister or her or her pseudo son, um, Steve. But even then, that's not really a thing the games even focus on. They just be like, oh yeah, he's Steve is the son of Nina when Nina was in a coma or something like that, or he was not having a proper real birth. It was like they got one of Nina's eggs and they fertilized it, something like that.
I am just very confused. You need to stop talking about Tekken.
No, I'll keep talking about Tekken. But outside of those two things, Steve doesn't really have any meaningful interaction with Nina, and Anna and Nina's rivalry is not like it's Dante and Virgil of levels of interest or even dramatic intrigue. It's just that they just jealous of each other all the time, and that's it. Makes some good comedy pieces, but not really story. And if it's not with them two, if she's part of the main story, she's just there literally as a lackey, just to help out Jin or Heihachi or whoever is in control of the Mishima Corporation at that point. Ghetto says, personal narratives can work since you don't have to go through a set story mode, and most arcade ladders are fine too. Then but then you get into the Mortal Kombat situation in which literally, I don't know why they do this. When you do the arcade mode for Mortal Kombat, even Injustice, you get like this very non-canonical ending that details especially it's pretty much a what if. That's all it is, which I guess is fine, but I would like to know, hey, what happens for Cyborg after events of Injustice 2 or during or something, or maybe his own little story within Injustice 2 instead of a what if where he controls the world because he became fully roboticized.
He became a Terminator.
Pretty much. He pretty much became like it happened in the comics too. He pretty much became Skynet.
Yeah, huh.
Ghetto also says, I take embassies to big party on the ship ending. You know what? You know what? It's got to be like a children's a CGI movie where at the end everyone does a big song number at the end. That's how fighting games should end. A big song number at the end.
I just like Zack's ending from from Dead or Alive.
Oh, isn't he? Oh, doesn't he get like he didn't get to leave the island and so he gets blown up on it?
Yeah.
And yet he still lives.
And he made his own like little beach area on a different island.
Yeah, because hey man, people love the volleyball, the beach games, man. That's where the money is.
Lost a fight to Lucky Chloe because it happened in a versus mode. Well, that's half true, and yes, I can. You do have to take a character's canon lore into account, but only as a means of setting the stage for the fight. The events of the fight still take precedence in storytelling by showing you what exactly happens in this matchup. If you have a team of Videl, Krillin, and Yamcha, and they're fighting a team of Frieza, Cell, and Broly, then yes, canonically you have to accept that Team Videl is horrifically outclassed here. But if Team Videl actually wins, you also have to accept that you just saw how it happened, and maybe Frieza should have been blocking Videl's mix-ups. This doesn't mean that Videl is now stronger than Frieza canonically, it just means that in this particular fight, Team Videl came out victorious.
I will say though he chose a bad example because never ever use Dragon Ball for any type of power arguments. Never, even in the game form.
It's like the equivalent of like how I saw it. Do you ever follow this YouTuber called Litero?
I do not.
Uh, he makes a lot of Dragon Ball Z fighter or yeah Dragon Ball Fighters videos right now. This one he made a part 2 to his part 1 of him trying to beat the raid boss that is Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku. It pretty much it's a ladder where you start off fighting Goku, base 4, then go to Ultra Instinct Goku just right off the top.
Oh, okay.
Then you fight Jiren and then Goku.
Oh God.
And like it goes up to the ladder until at the very top of that ladder, you have to fight level 100 Ultra Instinct Goku, level 80 Beerus, level 80 Jiren, and you have to beat them. You can't do timers. You have to beat them. And you know what this guy used at one point?
What?
Him and his friends used Android 16. All of them were Android 16. So with this argument this man is providing, there is a world where someone made 3 Android 16s, where Dr. Jerome made 3 Android 16s, and they all were fighting Ultra Instinct Goku, Beerus, and Jiren, trying to dunk them and then failing. But still, 3 Android 16s. And apparently they all had their own different personalities.
But Jack, it only happens in that one instance. Outside of that, it can't happen.
Imagine.
Even if you, but then by doing allowing that to happen, you create precedents. So if Adele could really beat Frieza and just won the match, you create precedents that she at least can fight Frieza on a level playing field.
Yeah, where there's no dampeners.
She doesn't have to win, but the fact of the matter is, she's now canonically stronger than she'll be canonically stronger than Krillin, who's the de facto strongest human in Dragon Ball.
Yep.
Yep. Ghetto says, "Remember that movie where Gohan one punched Frieza?" Oh, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I think that was like wasn't that like the last DBZ movie before Battle of Gods? It was like Fusion
Yeah.
Reborn.
I think so.
At least it made sense because friggin' Gohan's like he's already actually, what is the correct term for? Is it Mystic Gohan or Elder Kai Unlockability Gohan? What's that term?
It was
No,
Mystic.
Ultimate Gohan. It's Ultimate Gohan.
Oh.
I think it was Mystic Gohan one point, but it's actually Ultimate Gohan. I mean, he's on a level play with Boo, so I can see him one punching Frieza.
You know, my favorite thing was what they called the it's like hell but times a billion during that movie. I think it was called Loser or something like that. Like LOSER.
Yeah, that's where the losers go. Losers go to hell.
No, it was actually it was like a place worse than hell. I need to look it up.
Let me continue this video.
Bonus points if the character actually says something like, "Holy crap, I just beat Frieza." That's what I mean when I say self-contained narrative, because the story being told by the fight illustrated an unlikely.
Oh, got it. He goes home for infinite losers.
That one, home for infinite losers.
That's the old dub name because they couldn't say hell. Also, it was hell. They just couldn't say it.
Yeah.
I like that, the home for infinite losers. I actually like that better.
Home for infinite losers.
Because at least if you say, "I come from hell," some people are like, "Oh no, it's evil." But if you say, "I come from the home of infinite losers," then let's just take this thing off of it. And on the third day, Jesus left the home for infinite losers and rose again from the dead.
And on the third day, Jesus left the shadow realm.
Taya asked Tristan, why isn't Yami in the cave?
How old were you when you found out that the shadow realm was actually not even a part of the plot?
Oh god. I didn't make the connection till like I was like 18.
Say.
I thought like I just thought the Shadowrun was a thing. I didn't know they just freaking die from playing a children's card game. Ghost is
But
also
it
Hell
made it
and
more believable.
yeah, it did. I'll give them that. Also, Hell in Dragon Ball is super inconsistent. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. Because especially if you go by Super, technically Earth has its own hell, but
Yeah.
it's not a hell that any being can just go to. You have to die on Earth to go to that hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder what happens if you die in space.
Um.
Do you just
I'm.
go to the nearest planet?
You know, actually that makes you wonder. Then does everyone in Universe 7 just go to King Yema when they die?
Well, yeah. I remember that they actually had that happen before, I think. Oh wait, no, never mind. No, that was something completely different.
oh, dang it. And I guess then maybe it's a thing where each planet has its own heaven and hell. Well, no, but then wouldn't heaven just be the Kai world? And the Kais are the deities for every single universe. So there's one technically heaven, but there's like multiple hells.
Mm.
Ghettos says, in the filler, it didn't look all that different from King Kai's planet. In Super, everyone gets a personal one. In GT, it's just hell. In Fusion Reborn, it's colorful but destitute. Okay. Okay, so I guess in terms of Super, is not that there's multiple hells, is that you get a specific punishment in which you can be viewed as hell. In Frieza's case, it was a very happy, joyful land.
That I remember. Crap. What was it? I think it was in GT where Cell could not even speak about his own hell, and I just always wondered what was his hell. Oh
I
wait, no, that was in the DBZ fighter. That was in Dragon Ball Fighters.
huh, I never guess. Well, I never played Cell, so I guess I didn't see that. No, wait, was that in the story mode, right?
Yeah.
Because must have missed that dialogue then. I do know this. I do know that do want to say it's a shame that Piccolo wasn't part of the main cast in freaking GT, and he got stuck in hell. Stupid.
I really want to know what was his hell.
Uh,
Oh, stuck being
Stuck being
imperfect. That's
imperfect.
okay. Yeah. He would be able to consume all those Android 18s and 17s, but still imperfect.
You know what? I don't make a hot take here. I actually like Cell's imperfect form more than his perfect form.
I just like the idea of what if Cell's head, like the top of his head, was actually a hat. Have you seen how people drew him without it?
Yeah, it looks weird.
No, it looks good.
But weird because you're used to it.
No, no.
Ghetto says, "Me too to not liking to liking imperfect Cell, or me too to about Cell's hat head thing." What are you referring to?
I think about the imperfect.
Could be. It could be. I like Imperfect Cell more because it's just he looks like he actually looks horrifying, and both in the Japanese and English, he has a great voice to pair with it. I think it would have been cool because I could see Frieza getting more refined as he gets powerful, but with something like Cell, where he's literally just a organism meant to kill.
Well, remember, he's trying to be perfect.
I know.
That means even on his looks. Have you never seen Perfect Squidward?
But I'm just saying it would be cool if it like Cell just got more monstrous, and so you have like essentially this xenomorph looking thing by the end of his perfect form. Because you know, it's even to relate it back to Aliens. In the first movie of Alien, the xenomorph was described as the perfect killing machine, and so and Toriyama loves his references. So could be a cool thing where when Cell reaches perfect form, he could look like something resembling a xenomorph.
What the hell is Cell X? I'm looking at it right now. What the hell are you?
Okay, Cell X and Dragon Ball Heroes. What the heck? Hold on. Oh, we gotta pause this. This is
What are
important.
you?
This is important information.
Kill with fire. Jesus Christ.
What the heck? Hold on. What?
It needs to be killed with fire.
Oh my god. Well, I gotta get a bigger picture than that. There it is. What the heck is this?
Your cell's so fat. He takes up 2 pictures.
What the heck? This is So X, apparently.
Yep.
Okay, you know what? I could work with this. Just don't make him look perfect. If you give him a perfect look,
Don't make him look perfect. Don't make him look so hot yet horrifying.
exactly. Ghetto says, Dragon Ball Heroes is honestly the weirdest stuff I want from this franchise. I mean,
that thing is weird.
Yeah. At least we have the official art of Super Saiyan 3 Raditz. At least it has that, and Super Saiyan 3 Nappa. But good lord!
Does his mustache grow bigger?
Oh yeah, he gets a full-on Viking beard.
What
Wait.
about his hair? Does he get like at least?
No, he remains bald.
Oh, I thought he was gonna at least get some like a 5 o'clock shadow on his head.
Well, I could double check. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let's see. Nappa, Super Saiyajin 3. Nope, straight up big old beard.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Just cut some of that hair on his beard and then put it on his head.
Just tape it to the top of his head. All
He
right,
deserves hair. Nappa needs to have nappy hair.
Great Saiyaman 3, isn't that the one where it's like this? Like, isn't Great Saiyaman 3 the one who really looks like a Kamen Rider? Like, he really looks like one. Is that Great Saiyaman 3?
Oh.
I'm talking to Ghetto. I'm talking
No,
to you.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
It's no use.
It's no use.
No use. Ghetto and why more booze are a thing. Oh, that's right. It's more than. That's freaking. It's still kind of fun and weird. In Xenoverse, booze are a race. I figured that might be a problem, but who knows? Maybe they're all domesticated at that point.
They're all domesticated.
Don't you want your own boo?
Yeah. Keep a boo as a pet.
Oh, Ghetto says, yeah. Oh, Trunks is Great Saiyaman 3.
For a second, I thought you said Trump.
Trump is Great. I tell you, Johan, I like what you're doing with the Sandman, but frankly, if I can be honest, I can do better. Ghetto says, no I. No. Oh, man. Oh, that's right. It's because Boo read Satan's lady books and felt lonely. Oh, that's right. That happened.
You know what? Let's
What?
make Joe Biden Boo.
Oh wait, so is this right now? Is this the Boo saga we're going through right now?
Yes.
You know what? With all the craziness that's happening in the world, this makes a lot more sense.
We're in the Boo saga, everyone.
We're in the Boo saga now.
Trump needs to beat Biden.
Everyone, give Trump your energy.
Everyone, give Trump your votes.
And it makes sense too. Boo is an ancient evil that's going to destroy the world, and Biden's old and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yes, very, very similar. Destroying the world is very similar to just being kind of weird.
And Boo's well, you know what? Wrong example. Boo's also kind of weird too, if you think about it. I mean, you don't have to think about it. He is just weird.
Remember, they both sleep a lot. Sleepy Biden.
And
Sleepy Joe.
Oh, that's true. Oh, and as well, at no one point did Boo have any remarkable intelligence. And Joe
No.
Biden, maybe when he was young, but now he's you know, the thing,
Oh, oh,
my hairy legs turn blonde in the summer.
better, better, better. Joe Biden, whenever he powers up, he just goes into his younger self. To be super, Super Biden.
Oh, Super Biden and the Kid Biden. Oh,
What are we doing here?
Kid Biden.
You know, someone out there is gonna be just skimming our live stream and then goes and clicks right here on this moment where we're just going Super Biden,
Kid Biden.
Kid Biden,
Majin Biden.
Majin Biden,
Wait, what is wait, do we make evil Biden a thing like evil Boo?
Evil Joe.
And the best part, whoever he picks as his VP would be Deborah.
Oh,
Oh man.
our
I love this idea. I love it so much. If I
our
could,
Lord is getting close. It's all coming together now.
if I had the talent, I would crowdfund this comic so hard.
Crowdfund the comic.
No, crowdfund it so hard if I had the talent.
What would you do? Well, we should have said asked this pitched our idea to just Literature Devil to see what he says about it.
Oh, I think you'll. You know what? You know what? You know what? If I could, some way get into his morning show and just have him talk for at least 10 minutes, just me pitching my idea about Dragon Trump Z, that would be worth it. That would be worth waking up at 7:30 in the morning.
So here's the thing.
So here's the thing. You see, Trump is Goku and Alex Jones is Master Roshi. I mean, sorry, King Kai. As soon as I say that, that was like, sold. Where's here? Take my money. Oh man. Fighting games. That's what we're talking about. Oh, let's go on.
Speaking of fighting games, wait.
Against overwhelmingly
What was it?
Dang it. I saw that part where it looked like Frieza was just trying to body slam Videl.
That's too unrefined for Frieza. He'll ask one of the Ginyu Force to do that.
powerful foes. Unfortunately, the nature of Dragon Ball's narrative style makes this an impossibility because all character strength is outlined by relative power levels as a hard, immutable metric, so things like skill, technique, or tactics don't matter, and Videl would realistically never be able to hurt Frieza no matter how good her mix-up game is. And this is why I don't like Dragon Ball.
Well, sucks to be you then now, huh? But he does make a fair criticism.
I don't know.
Ghetto. I'm trying to buy. She's married. She's married, Videl. She's married.
Have you not seen Naturare? It's out there.
So
out
Ghetto, you want to steal Videl from Gohan and utterly destroy him? I know it's out. He says that's the best part. Oh god. Now here's the thing, though. Here's the catch, though. Here's the catch. Oh wait, hold on. He'll be alright. Here's the thing, though. If that happens, that means you also have to bring in Pam with you. You have to bring in Pam to the family. If you're going to steal Videl, the kid comes with her. Unless you want to be like, nah, I'll just take the woman. You can slam Videl, but then you're gonna be a daddy. You're gonna be a daddy, Ghetto, and you gotta take care of a sand baby. Good luck with that.
Well, if he doesn't take the baby, he's still gonna be a daddy.
Well, that's true.
Even better.
Even better.
Take the baby. Even better.
He goes to Gohan. I'm not just gonna steal your wife. I'm gonna steal your family. I and then he just takes off his glasses. He goes, "I will be." He goes, "I will be that you. I will be the one that you never could be." He sneaks up to it and whispers to his ear, "Relevant."
Oof.
There you go, Gato. That will be your thing. You will be more relevant than Gohan. And then you will get to hang out with Mr. Piccolo. Finally, Mr. Piccolo can speak with his own kind. If you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Thankfully, there now exists a character that lets me demonstrate self-contained narrative in the most fantastic way I've ever seen. Let's talk about Lowain. For those unfamiliar with Grand Blue Fantasy, it's set in a sky world of airships and floating island continents. Between all these sky-faring adventurers, esteemed knight captains, wielders of ancient relics, and primordial powers from beyond the heavens, Lowain is just a cook. He is, by and large, the game's joke character, and canonically speaking, he shouldn't have an Ice Cube's chance in hell of defeating any other cast member in a proper fight. But check out what happens when Lowain does win.
ローアイン選手、激闘の末、ついに勝利をもぎ取りました。デュエル界に衝撃っていう
まあそういう人生一発逆転的な要素を考えるよね。
真面目にコツコツが大事なんだぞ、ローワイン君。
はあ、真面目かよ。
でもわかりみ
If Lowain wins a fight, it's because it was all just a bogus story he made up while chilling with the bros. Even if the player demonstrates amazing skill and makes Lowain look like a champ in battle, it's all just an embellishment of Lowain's imagination. So if Lowain wins against Zoe, the primal beast of world balance, then he was just talking it up in a bar. And if Lowain loses, then yeah, of course he did. Canonically speaking, Lowain never wins a fight, and that's amazing.
Oh, I gotta love that. Do it again. I want to see that again.
Lowain never wins a fight, and that's amazing.
You can't tell, but I'm doing it with them.
So what do you think? So what do you think of that as a way to implement any type of canon? Is that if it is you think it's a good compromise or
Yeah,
good
that's pretty
solution?
clever. I like it.
I thought so too. I'm honestly couldn't find any ways to either change it or make it better because you know what, that could work.
To me, I only like it on a joke character. It makes sense with a joke character.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, and now if we pick a character to the level playing field, well, he does go to an example like that in a little bit, but if it's a level playing field, I guess one of those things is it doesn't go either or. I mean, to be fair, even in canon, it's not like Ryu wins every match he's in.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so it can work. It can work. It's just I think, but then by that point, but then you got. I think the only situation I could see is that if you want to see any development of two characters personally, you have to. It's not like you can find a full narrative in the game. You have to play the next game just so you can see what kind of cutscenes they'll have in the fight.
Yeah.
So essentially, instead of one big grand story, which may or may not use all the characters, you have a bunch of little, essentially vignettes of the characters, whoever goes against each other, and that will be it. And that will be the story right there, or at least the stories that you'll get. It's just kind of weird to see a solution to them in the next game, especially since unlike KOF, which had a game every year, you have to wait several years to see the follow up to that for like a little vignette in the story, and not some big grand plot. So it's a fun idea, but it kind of not makes it worth it if that's how you're going to tell your story with these little vignettes, because then it might be fun to piece it all together, but unless there's not one big plot that kind of threads not everyone, but at least a good supporting of the cast, and makes it interesting, then you just have a game where people are just fighting and there's funny stories that happen, which could work, maybe in a more comedic type of game.
Yeah.
Ghetto says, I just remembered another game that does the pre-match narrative. Budokai Tenkaichi 3. With stuff like Goku not recognizing himself as a kid. I can believe that. Trunks wanting to check on himself as a kid. 18 calling 18 calling Zanya a skank because she likes Krillin. Wow, that's kind of reaching it, considering she was just in one movie and all she did was just make a joke to Krillin and then whooped his butt. But that's Krillin's life every day. And Bardock being happy to his descendants. That's bullcrap. Bardock's never happy. He's never happy.
One of my favorite things that fighting games do is acknowledge when certain matchups frame a specific narrative. Something as simple as Ryu and Ken's fist bump recontextualizes what's normally a street brawl as a fight between friendly rivals. This happens all the time in Arc Systems games when characters will load a unique voice set and sometimes unique music when matched against a character related to them.
もう我慢できないの。がっついてんじゃねえよ、すっご野郎。まずは楽しもうぜ。
Check out how this works in Soul Calibur 6. Keelik and Xianghua are best friends, and when they fight, it's framed as the two having a friendly sparring match. But in this game, Keelik's soul charge puts him in this ultra-violent state where he struggles to contain the corruption of the evil seed. In any other matchup, Keelik entering the state can be seen as simply succumbing to the dark power. But watch what happens when you use this ability against Xianghua during their sparring match. With this change in voice line, Keelik can still unleash his dark mode against Xianghua, but without breaking the canon that she's his best friend and that he cares about her. Another way that fighting games acknowledge the canon of their characters is through animation. Characters like Slayer, Rachel Alucard, and Persona's Elizabeth are implied to be so inhumanly powerful that victory against them is canonically impossible. But since this is a fighting game, you have to be able to KO them. Check out what happens when Slayer loses. Even though the fight illustrates how Slayer lost the battle, canonically he wasn't so much defeated as much as he simply decided not to win. To characters like Slayer and Elizabeth, being defeated is almost an amusement. Rachel takes this to an even more insane degree. It's not just when she's defeated that she shows how uninvested she is in the fight, it's every time she gets hit. Or to be more accurate, every time she doesn't. If you look closely at Rachel's hit animations, Rachel never suffers from a single hit in battle because Nago and Gi are taking the damage in her stead. In a way, Rachel losing is simply Rachel deciding to stop fighting out of boredom in order to frame the narrative of the battle.
So I actually think that's kind of creative.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
And honestly, that could be used more just to obviously to personalize animations, and as he was saying, to make little stories. So, like I said, he makes a very good case for taking us out the storytelling. That the only problems I see of it is how do you continue interest of it per game if the games are not going to be released in a timely manner to keep that investment aside from just the actual fighting game itself, the fighting itself. That's the only really criticism I have with this approach.
Huh.
With the big story mode, and you get your big story mode, and you get to set up the big narrative and end it for that game. So the next thing you set up the next big one. With, like I said, with all the little vignettes, you do have a cool lot of personalized matches with with the characters' personalities. You can highlight that with the animation, but at the end of the day, you're not telling a big story. You're just telling essentially a very short story with amongst all these characters, which could be a good approach. And I know some games definitely do that a lot, especially with Injustice, in which they will in Mortal Kombat, in which they'll talk about they'll talk about literally story-related stuff that's never mentioned within the main story mode. So it can work. So it can work. It should be just kind of weird to see a follow-up on that by literally waiting for the next game.
Hmm.
So it's just at least it's with me thinking out loud. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure being a fan service game takes it to another level with vampire characters needing specific items to be playable in exchanges during daytime. What? With vampire characters specific items to be playable in stages during daytime. Is that a thing? Was that a thing in Eyes of Heaven? I don't think I ever noticed that. Oh, sorry, and Josuke healing Johnny just to. Oh, that's right. That's kind of messed up.
Just to triple him again.
Yeah, he does. He does. I mean, I know he did that to a criminal in the manga and the anime, but to do that to a guy you're having a fight with, to be like, all right, poof, cripple you. That's too much, man. Come on, Josuke. Also, Dio and Joro not really recognize Jerry despite being father and son. I can see that. I mean, to be fair, the resemblance is not that. I mean, even if you go by anime or by manga, it's not like they really resemble each other. Not really. And that's even before his hair turned blonde. No, All-Star Battle. Oh, okay, it's an All-Star Battle. Okay, I see. Wasn't an Eyes of Heaven, it was an All-Star Battle. So yeah. Although in all these cases, they don't have to live up in anything because all with this, it's just really just references to JoJo. And if you know them, cool. If you don't know them, well, they're weird. So and because JoJo, that makes them de facto cool. So it can happen, but you end up just making little references like with All-Star Battle or just character moments, basically. So yeah, honestly, that's the only criticism I could take of it. Do you think what do you think? What do you think of my criticism? Is it a good one, or you think or am I overlooking something?
No, I think you're right on the money on it.
Wait, did I hear?
What?
I thought for a second. I thought you were playing Mario 64 for a second.
No, I'm playing a crane game.
Of course you are. Their dialogues more lines of "I feel so close to you, yet so far away." I'm sure.
I've come so far. Oh wait, no.
No,
How'd it go?
I got so far. As a wait. How did it go? Wait, crap! How did the lyrics go again?
How did it go? Well, in the end, it doesn't even matter.
If I'm gonna bet that we got a punk coin for that one. If Dio wins, you'll just tell Giorno he likes him. I see. Honestly, those type of ones, especially in JoJo, they're honestly kind of disappointing because I expected a lot more from them, but then they're just little victory and ending dialogue. So it's only so much you can ask for that.
Yeah.
Although I understand that it might be unreasonable to just delete story mode, storytelling through versus mode is great and all, but I also know that it flies over most people's heads. Funny thing is, some fighting games have managed to solve the problems of story mode on a few rare occasions, whether by pure accident or inspired intention. So I'd like to take this opportunity to highlight these exceptional moments in fighting game stories and explain what makes them work.
Again, I know Jolene is shocked to see Part 3 Jotaro. Oh yeah, I bet she's just shocked just to see her dad at all. Let alone his younger self. How would you feel, Jack, if you saw your dad when he was 18?
I wouldn't really care.
Yeah, I expect that kind of answer.
What do you
Mentioned
mean by
before that
that?
fighting games
that you're like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. The craziest thing could happen to you, and it'd be like, just another Wednesday.
I mean, what could I do?
You can tell him like, "Hey, I'm your son." and then boom,
Yeah, and then
you
like slowly
disappear.
vanish.
Or maybe you find out, or maybe you find out something about his past you didn't know about. Who knows? Maybe, maybe
Make sure.
maybe it turns out when he was 18, he was really, really, really into the 80s style, like really into it.
I
Big
don't know. It's
hair.
Mexico, so
Don't count it. Maybe Mexico, but they still will adopt the hairstyle and the clothes, even if they were playing cumbia.
yeah, but you don't know how they exactly look like in the 80s.
We all know what everyone looked like in the 80s. Everyone knows.
No,
It was a
apparently
uniform.
the uniform.
Mom jeans for everyone. There's also how some moves affect characters, like every character's unique animation for being punched by golden experience. I actually do like that.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
The orgasmic feeling of being punched by golden.
No, not orgasmic. You get a sense of adrenaline. There's a difference.
Same difference.
Require a status quo to be maintained in order to keep the game balanced for regular VS play. But the one advantage of keeping story mode as a separate mode is that you can break the balance of the game in order to create drama or tension for a player. Any fighting game with a non-playable boss already does this by giving you a boss of absolutely epic scale or a boss that's infuriatingly overpowered. But some games can even go the opposite direction. During a chapter of BlazBlue Continuum Shift, Jin becomes unable to use his sword Yuki-Anisa for plot reasons. In the subsequent fight, you play as Jin versus Unlimited Tsubaki. Not only is Tsubaki super buffed for this fight, but Jin can't use any of his C attacks, drive attacks, or special moves. You only have your punches and kicks, which doesn't even get you a full combo. Jin is crippled in this fight, both plot-wise and game-wise, and you actually experience how weak and helpless Jin is without his sword.
Which is something I mentioned earlier, and I just ask, why isn't this type of stuff used more in your big adventure modes for drama, for intrigue?
Because it would be frustrating sometimes if you're trying to progress through the story.
What if that's the point?
Well,
Like you're experiencing what the character is feeling at that moment, fighting against this specific person. You're not.
Here's the thing: the characters will experience, like canonically, the character will experience it once. You will most likely have to experience it 20 times over because you keep getting game overs.
Well, I mean, you got to make it a challenge.
Yeah, a challenge, but I mean, crippling the character will be the same as, again, us fighting Seth in Street Fighter 4.
Well, no, that's different because with with us, we're not crippled in any way. It's just Seth has a lot of advantages, which what makes the fight frustrating and unfair. It's because he has got so many advantages in his moveset and within his in the way his AI is used.
Yeah,
And
like it's good for a gimmick to be like a one-time thing, but if you put it in your story where like you need to, like to me, it just becomes more of a problem if it's not done right at all.
well, how about something like this then? MK used to do it where, what if you're one character and you had to fight two characters?
Well, that's like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Well, not like that. I mean, literally, like pretty much the thing like Skullgirls.
You still have to tap out and tap in.
Well, I know that's the I know, but still though, you get if you're the single player, you'll at least get to experience the feeling of being okay. I'm just one person, and I'm fighting against these two strong foes. So the challenges of having to defeat people at an unfair advantage. But with a game like Skullgirls, it will still be okay because the game is designed that whether you have one character, two character, three characters in your team, you still have a fair chance of defeating your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things like that could be implemented as well.
Yeah, but I'm talking about specifically crippling. Like you can't just go into a different argument. I am talking about the crippling aspect. That's what we started the argument for, the debate. We can't
What-
just go into a different
Well,
argument.
I'm just talking about having these type of handicap as in general, and that there is one for crippling. Yeah, I agree that shouldn't be something used all the time because it'll be super frustrating. But there is a place for that, especially if it creates more drama, especially in a story mode type fight.
Well, yeah, that's fine, but you need to really state that at the beginning of a debate because now you're just gonna.
Well, we're not debating; we're just having a
I
conversation.
know, but like, it's just like you gotta give me some cards here. You can't just like go into another topic and then be like, okay, well, there goes what I was trying to be devil's advocate for.
Well, actually, I'll forget what we're talking about. Well, but I can see in regards to the crippling, I can see that it will be frustrating and probably not fun. Many people who played Mortal Kombat Reboot, when they fought against the Final Boss Shao Kahn, even though there was supposedly a more powered up Raiden, Shao Kahn was still a pain to fight against, essentially, since he has a lot of unblockable attacks. So I understand completely. You're not exactly crippled, but you are at an extreme disadvantage.
Remember, guys, when you go against HAC, you might as well get the Steven Crowder method and try to go for everything you could think of because he's just gonna go into a different topic.
We're not debating; we're just talking. Okay, hold on. You know what? Okay, hold on. Okay, I gotta get okay, I'll give it to you fair. I am being fair. What were you trying? What were you trying to?
No, that's it. We're pretty much already over with it.
Okay.
It's now you're just beating a dead horse.
Speaking of beating dead horses.
It would also be disingenuous not to mention Tekken 7 story mode, specifically the final battle between Heihachi and Kazuya. Despite the many drawbacks of Tekken 7 story, I think this final battle is the single best story moment I've ever experienced in a fighting game. Every round of this fight just builds more and more tension and drama, using every cinematic trick that the game has used until this point, like cutting to these flashback moments during hard knockdowns in which the player can't act anyway. The real special moment of this fight is Heihachi's final stand, which breaks both the game's rules to convey its story, as well as cleverly utilizes one of the game's cinematic features that's already built in. During this final battle, Heihachi is down to a middling 15% of his health. Narratively, Heihachi is on his last legs. Devil Kazuya, who is already an overpowered version of regular Kazuya, has infinite rage and can use his rave drive as many times as he wants. But Heihachi, refusing to give in, only takes minimal damage from all of Kazuya's attacks. Not only that, but because Heihachi is at 15% health, this causes the game's dramatic slow motion mechanic to trigger every time Heihachi and Kazuya are about to trade blows, making each hit feel like it could be the last. And yet, Heihachi refuses to die. This is literally too angry to die as a gameplay experience, and it's amazing. There is one last sample I'd like to highlight, and you'd be surprised to know that it's the Shao Kahn fight from Mortal Kombat 9. I'm aware that I've been spending most of this video pointing out the faults and flaws of NetherRealm story modes, and I have been hugely critical of Mortal Kombat in general. But this fight in Mortal Kombat 9 demonstrates how you can use something as simple as matchups to establish characters' relative power. When you fight Shao Kahn for the first time, you fight him as Liu Kang. Against Kahn's moveset, Liu Kang actually has very few tools to properly counteract him. It's difficult to approach Kahn because of his shoulder tackles that knock you back and because of his projectiles. And even if you use your flying kick to approach, he sometimes just armors through it and opens you up to get knocked back again. At best, the only thing you can do is use low fireballs against his javelin throw, but that turns the fight into a series of carefully aimed pot shots, and you still feel trapped against Khan's overwhelming advantages.
Which coincides with what Geto was saying in the chat. It says, fighting Shao Kahn taught me to stop trying to fight like how I usually, so against bosses and just cheese them, spam the hell out of uppercuts and jump kicks. Which is also the same, honestly, for also Instant K boss fights. Was there a way to I'm sure there was a way to cheese Seth, wasn't there?
I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
It's alright. Oh, Gemini. Going to bed. Good night, my dudes. Good night, Gemini. Did not notice that.
Sorry, what was happening? My mom came through the door.
Oh, just that in that what he's talking about here could be viewed as in regards to matchups and how using this diagram how Shao Kahn has every advantage, and the only advantage Liu Kang has is the low fireball to get the lucky hit against Shao Kahn, which comes to mind what Geto says here, in which he said, "Fighting Shao Kahn taught me to stop trying to fight like I usually do, so against bosses and just cheese them, spam the hell out of uppercuts and jump kicks."
That's what I did with Set. I just did light punches, crouching light punches. For some reason, it kind of confuses the AI. You know, like
it's always
you know that spinning kick he does.
The spinning, is that the one where if he kicks you, you get like that damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that one.
That one. So imagine him trying to do that, but I keep lightly tapping on his toes every time when he tries to connect. It's like every time when he tries to throw that kick out, in midair, I stub his toe with my fist.
Isn't it funny how it's always like those about like a crouching attack that gets the big boss? It's always something like that. Something so simple. Just put him in the corner and just crouching punch, light punch all day, every day. Oh man, spam projectiles and low kicks against Seth. Man, then that was a stupid one because I kept trying to fight fairly. I guess that's why I never got to fight Akuma. Then again, the requirements to fight Akuma in that game are stupid.
It's stupidly high.
Mm-hmm. Don't even try to go against Oni then.
What about Gauken?
In other words,
About who?
Gauken.
Gouken?
Yeah.
Was he in? I don't know. Only familiar with Akuma. I didn't know he could do that with Gouken.
It was incredibly hard. You had to, I think it was like get 3 timeouts, 3 supers, and then 3 ultra finishes.
Wow, that's a fun way to play. Gail says, oddly enough, the only boss I can fight normally is Galactus. Yeah, he's not. In Marvel 3, he's not that bad, quite honestly. It's honestly not that bad. Although, he's probably stupid in higher difficulties.
Okay, here it is. Gauken, no continues, 1 perfect, 5 first strikes, and 3 super/ultra finishes.
And how many people? And how much people there in our cable? Like you gotta fight 8 people.
Yeah.
That's no pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
words, Liu Kang versus Shao Kahn is a bad matchup, and the game uses this matchup to make Kahn feel more overpowering and intimidating. The second time you fight Shao Kahn, you are playing as Raiden. Plot-wise, Raiden receives a power-up from the Elder Gods that allows him to fight Shao Kahn at equal power, but this is a lie. Not only is Shao Kahn unchanged since the last time you fought him as Liu Kang, but Raiden hasn't changed either. He's still the same Raiden you've been playing all chapter and the same Raiden you play in VS mode, but Raiden has one tool that Liu Kang doesn't: a teleport. Raiden can do full combos on Shao Kahn while he's still winding up his slow moves just by teleporting behind him. So by changing absolutely nothing but giving you a better matchup, the player feels empowered and Shao Kahn feels weaker. I can't tell for sure if this aspect of power scaling via matchup was intentional or if it was just a brilliant accident. But seeing how they fucked up in MKX by doing the exact opposite, I'm willing to believe the latter.
I actually didn't read. Oh, sorry, I did read this. Oh yeah, this is also stupid. It's so stupid, right? This moment. But what do you bring up using matchups? Hmm. Honestly, I think that's kind of clever. But being that a fighting game is I guess you could say the meta is always gonna change. It's it's hard to see it stick strictly unless unless the story mode are only gonna use like the version 1 of each character.
Hmm.
So I just thought it up too that with his example, I think it really is just a happy little accident because in trying to fuse matchups, it can work. It can work, but for the most part, you're an average player, and even like someone like me who's into fighting games, it's not something we're really gonna think about, and it's not gonna impact the story per se because we would care more about who we're fighting against rather than oh man oh oh man of the meta of how the meta of the fight's going to be. And besides, you're going to be playing against AI, so it's not like you're able to do things that you can do against a regular player that will make those type of matches interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
that's why the cheesy method always works because the AI can't understand what you're doing.
yeah, I could have sworn that in at least when it came to Seth, it was programmed to like the first round was technically a trap because it was trying to kind of read what you usually do a lot, and then the second round it just kind of counters everything you do.
Yeah, which is fine, but that did not make for a fun experience for a lot of players. Now, did
Oh
it?
yeah, definitely.
So, I have to disagree. I will personally have to disagree on this one. I just honestly think that was a happy little happy little accident, like Bob Ross would say. Happy little mistakes. No mistakes, just
Just
little
like you
accidents. Oh,
and me.
and everyone else in the chat.
Yeah, we're all
We're,
accidents.
we're all accidents if you think about it.
Part of
Especially.
me wishes more fighting games will just stop obsessing over fancy story cinematics, but I know that's not likely to happen because story mode cutscenes are pretty and make for good trailer material. But I do think fighting games have the potential to actually have engaging and memorable stories, whether or not it happens in self-contained matches. Stories and fighting don't have to be separate, because a fight is a story. That's it for today's advertorial. Hopefully next time you play fighting...
And that's the end of that. And that is the end. So, Jack, overall thoughts on the video?
I like it. It was entertaining.
Did you learn something new?
Yeah, I guess. Kind of the same way how you learn a fun fact. It's there.
Uh, I just hope that even with all this thing about fighting stories, I honestly hope there is legitimate improvement. Because ideally, let's say I make my own fighting game and I want to have a story mode. Ideally, I would probably do something not really a story mode, but just a big single player campaign mode they can use with any character, like with Weapon Master mode from Soul Calibur 2.
Hmm.
Honestly, I think they should do more of that than trying to do a big explain narrative. Because all you need to do is it's pretty much like role playing. You have your character you want to role play as, and you go through these interesting scenarios and situations that put you on a big adventure. That's what I love about Weapon Master mode, even as a little kid.
I've technically never. Well, I've never used that. I've never even heard about that. But to be
Oh,
fair, don't play as many fighting games as you do.
yeah, but this was back then, so I barely play any fighting games. But fair point enough. I do know there are some BS in that mode. There is one part in which I kid you not, you literally fight against a weapon.
It sounds familiar.
And I remember it too. It was Astaroth's axe, but Astaroth wasn't there, so all it was just a floating axe that you had to defeat because it was like possessed or something.
Imagine trying to punch that.
What's the hitbox of the axe? How you
Try
hit
to
some?
punch it, you accidentally hit the head of the axe, so it's just like splits your hand down in half
Yeah,
of your own force.
it's like fighting Anubis.
Yeah, finding a cloud.
What the only remember the only way to fight a cloud is to dress it up as a girl.
Yeah, to fight those nubes. Los nubes y los cielos.
No. Not that type of. Ah, dang it. All right then. We're near the ending, and we did our first little EFAP thing. Yay!
Yeah. I was
Uh,
hoping some other type of EFAP.
Well, we'll be lucky because the way Mahler and Rags do their EFAPs, they would have been here till about till like 3 o'clock in the morning. But then again, we posted actually a decent video. The videos they go through are made by people with horrendous opinions. Which, you know what, if I want to do this again, I gotta find something that's horrendous that we can mock and roast.
I got one.
Like, is it girth? Does it have length? Is it girthy?
Oh my, he really wants to take it in them.
Does it have any meat in it?
HAC likes the meat.
Taste the meat, not the heat. But I can also tell that I'm going down. It was a long work day, so I'm ready to just unplug. So we're gonna go ahead and close off. Jack, what are you gonna be doing till the next episode of the Hack Jack Show?
I don't know, what are you going to be doing?
Oh, that's right. I mean, Hack, what are you gonna be doing till the next episode of the Hack Jack Show?
I guess I'm gonna go ahead and steal some of your content and do I'm gonna just hijack your Jack after hours. So weird.
The joke is done. The joke's done.
All right. So, tomorrow I am gonna. Okay, pretty much. Sadly enough, that I'm gonna keep trying on the Nether only speed run, but it's already gonna be past the due date, which is tomorrow at like I think 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm never gonna be able to do it, just because I've tried so many times. I failed to do I failed on the due date, so I'm not gonna get any prizes. But I want to do it still one day, just so I can be able to say I finally did it.
I know that feeling very well.
But until then, I'm gonna be taking a quick break from all the Minecraft streams and playing some other different games. So be expecting a lot of different other games, and hopefully in the future, by the end of this month, expect me to have a new computer.
Yay!
Hopefully.
Huzzah! Hopefully, if the corona doesn't put a virus in the computer.
Oh no! I opened up. It's like that one clip in The Simpsons where Homer opens up his package and then like just a dust of virus just gets on his face.
Oh man! Also, Ghetto says, in regards to roasting and finding like people with bad opinions, you can spend 15 minutes on Twitter to get content.
Hell yeah!
Yes, you can. And would that be it, Jack?
So far from what I can think of, yes.
All right. As for me, tomorrow morning I do have my evening stream in the morning, so we'll be doing that around at 10 a.m. More comic reviews, more hack runs. I actually read a comic last night that I'm like, oh, there's no way I want to do a regular review because there was like too much. So do expect a special like editorial video from me, I guess you could say, on after for a certain comic. And then when the weekend comes. I don't know Saturday or Sunday, but I'm gonna do my own little challenge, Jack. I'm gonna see if I can beat Mega Man 2 in just one stream. Dedicate the entire stream to beat Mega Man 2.
It's been 3 days. Your boss has been calling you.
I can do it. I can do it. I gotta defeat Dr. Wily.
Why we need to defeat Doctor Why we
That's actually a thing in the one of like the dubs of the Mega Man games. Dr. Light refers to Dr. Wily as Dr. Wily. It's a real thing.
Oh, I remember one game where they refer to him as Dr. Willy.
Oh boy. Woo! Crazy. So yeah, so I will make an announcement when I'll be doing that Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully it'll be fun and hopefully hopefully after this when I do that this albatross can be lifted from my shoulders because I can do it. I have made it to the end. I just didn't finish it. I can do it. I know I can. And yeah, that'll be it. Still working on Spider Blood episode 4 behind the scenes. Script is almost done with this first draft. So, with all that said and done, thank you for folks coming in for the episode of the Hack Jack Show. If you haven't done so, leave a like, leave a little like. It'll boost our egos. It'll make us feel all nice and comfy. But most importantly, out of everything though, share our show, share our channel, so that so more people can feast their eyes and experience the wonderful world of Dragon Trump Z. We need to let people know more about this. God dang it!
Hell yeah!
And yeah, I think that's it. So with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and this is Hack sign off.
Bye everyone.